Do you know what time it is?
You're tuned in to the Mosh Jelton Show. Mike.
What's poppin'? What's going on? It's the Mosh Jelton Show. We're getting down, and it's going to be a great show. We've got Ian, Buck, and Jess Skress in the building. What's going on?
Nothing much, man. We're going on. You know, today is the highlight of my day. It was a relaxing day. I was off, got some coffee. You know, I was getting stretched thin like toffee, but it's okay because I took a nap and now I'm refreshed.
You said today was the highlight of your day?
Yeah, today, like the day was the highlight of my day, like the whole day.
You ain't getting out of that. There's no way you're getting out of that scot-free. Jess Skress, what's going on?
Not much. This is the highlight of my day.
It's the highlight of your
It's
day.
right here, yes.
This day isn't the highlight of your day, but what we're doing now is the highlight of your day.
Exactly.
She said it right.
See, you got to learn from the woman, Buck. Learn from the woman. We've got 1 camera, 2 cameras, 3 cameras, 4, 5 cameras, 6 cameras, 7 cameras.
Whoa.
I'm not gonna say all that. The Mosh Jelton Show. You guys can check us out on Sunshine 96.7 FM. We have the #1 radio show of 2023, as well as the #2 radio show of 2024.
Yeah.
They gave me second best radio personality behind Bubba the Love Sponge. So you guys want to check that out. And we're also popping off live at 8 p.m. on Monday nights at themoshjeltonshow.com. And it's the best thing ever going on.
It is. It is the 8th wonder of the world, I've heard some people say.
Ooh.
You heard them? You heard them say that?
I have, yeah.
Bro, they want to be like us.
Though, but they can't.
Who did that song? Be like Not Like Us?
Wasn't that like Kendrick
Lamar?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Apparently, that he ended that beef with that song. Bro, everybody knows that song. I was rooting for Drake because he was in the battle rap realm. You know, he used to do a lot of stuff, show up at battle rap events and stuff. So I was kind of rooting for Drake.
I
and
was
then
too.
Kendrick smashed him up pretty bad.
Yeah.
So not a good look. First thing I want to pop up with right here on the Mosh Jelton Show. You know, we're getting this pod popping. I don't want to start off with any kind of politics or anything, but what's going on with the this monkey thing? Has anybody heard about the escaped monkey from the thing?
I have not heard about it.
Absolutely not. I think I've heard a mention of it or two, but I haven't looked into it. Tell us more.
So 42 monkeys escaped. Well, 43 monkeys escaped from a lab in South Carolina. One of those bio labs where like where Wuhan had some labs allegedly. I'm not sure.
Like the China Wuhan?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Now it could the coronavirus could have came from a meat market. So we're not going to say that it came from a lab, but it definitely came from a lab. For sure, but we don't need to relitigate that. What we need to figure out is, are these monkeys, and I believe they're macaques. That's the name of the type of monkey. Now, Drew Garabo did a whole entire bit about macaques, so I couldn't really do it again. You know what I'm saying? Because he already tackled that.
Yeah.
So, and this wasn't even during the time of these macaques happening to get. This was years ago when there was some other macaque happening. He already was on top of the macaque.
More macaquery going on.
Lots of macaques.
And I think he works for Cox. So macaques at Cox.
Bro, the still waters run.
Where do you go with that? You guys started up.
So why do they have monkeys in a lab?
Well, now they don't have monkeys in the lab apparently because they escaped. I guess you got to do bio research, man. You gotta, if you want to know, like, for instance, if you want to know if a shampoo is like not good for a human, I guess they start on monkeys. You can't just start with humans. You got to work your way up. They probably start with rats, monkeys, but
But a lot of places say not tested on animals, so I wasn't sure that they were still doing that.
Oh, a lot of scientific studies still have to use monkeys, even if it's not for commercial products. There's no other way around it when it comes to scientific testing, because after, like Mosh was saying, after a certain amount of tests on rats or mice, then what, are you just going to jump right into humans? No, you're going to go to the next closest thing.
Yeah, you got to make sure it's safe. So, I mean, it's weird, bro. And I'm going to tell you about how I can destroy people in vegan debates now. And so that kind of goes with this. It's like, is it ethical to study monkeys in a lab? It's got to be ethical, right?
I think to an extent there is a gray area, but
You don't torture the monkeys.
Right.
You don't want to do that.
majority of the time it's moral, right? Because they don't have the same sentience as humans, so they might have emotions and pains and feelings, but they're not going to be like, well, the intermachinations of my mind are an enigma in this current predicament.
But the monkeys escaped, so that leads me to believe maybe they were not liking whatever they were testing them.
Yeah, you're right.
We're
They're
doing.
evolving.
Right,
They're evolving.
Right.
The monkeys escaped. The way that I could tell that the way you think the monkeys escaped was one of them went, hey, listen, Apu. I don't know what. Apu. Hey, listen, I almost called him Abdul, but I thought that would immediately get me canceled. Listen, Apu, we're going to break out of this monkey jail. I don't think that's how it happened.
Okay.
I think somebody left. We don't know how it happened, but nothing wants to be entrapped. So they get out. 43 of them get out. They caught one of them. The police department said out of South Carolina, as of noon today, which was, I think that's, what's today?
Sunday.
Yeah.
Right now we're on Sunday, so I think this was either Friday or Saturday.
Okay.
As of noon today, that we are pleased to report that one of the escaped primates has been successfully recovered unharmed. A significant number of the remaining primates are still located just a few yards. Let me turn that off real quick. Just a few yards from where the property is, and they're still rocking out there. My thing is, let's say they were testing like bio stuff that could really infect somebody,
Yeah.
and these monkeys got loose. Should they tell the public, hey, by the way, we are doing this with these monkeys, that way people can know? Or do you think that it's just benign and there's nothing's going on with these monkeys? They're just testing like how long their hair grows per year. You know what I'm saying? They got to have something that could spread
Right.
with these monkeys, man.
I don't know. Planet of the Apes is kind of getting a little closer to reality. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm scared.
Why don't you elaborate on how Planet of the Apes is getting closer to reality?
Well, there's actually real evidence showing that primates, monkeys in particular, have developed the use of tools. Now, it's not tools as we colloquially, whatever that word is, as we normally think of them, right?
Right.
Like
That's the right word,
hammers.
colloquially.
I just don't know how to pronounce it. You know, I'm not a linguist. Nevertheless, they have been observed using rocks and sticks and other tools in their environment to achieve certain tasks like fishing and hunting.
So the monkeys are evolving. It's almost as if the monkeys are going to evolve into future primates that might use computers.
Dude, and then they'll be flying to the moon and then sending humans in their first rockets to see if they work.
A little backwards reality. Except for we never went to the moon. Everybody knows that. There's no way we went to the moon. That's for a different discussion. But I believe the monkeys will be able to go to the moon if anybody could go.
But if we're half monkey, didn't we already kind of go there?
I mean, I don't buy the whole we're half monkey thing. It's not a...
You're right. It's like 60%, I think.
It's a very weird... It's another rabbit hole of... Then you got to go with evolution. Do you believe in evolution? Boom, boom. I do believe that there's 42 monkeys still on the loose. I don't know if these monkeys have any type of things that they can pass on to the people. It doesn't seem like it because you would think somebody got infected.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
if they did, they should let the public know in case they
100%.
come in contact or something.
In case I come in contact with a macaque.
Yeah.
I can't do it. Drew already did it. I can't do it. I can't just press on the macaque thing. But whether or not it's immoral to mess around with animals in a lab, it's so the vegan argument, right?
All right.
You're not vegan, right?
No.
You're not vegan.
No.
I'm not vegan.
Okay, good.
But I've never been able to beat a vegan in a debate. Never been able to beat a vegan in a debate, right?
Okay.
Let's say, and I just cracked the code, right? I figured out how to beat a vegan. Do you think you could beat a vegan in a debate?
Well, I'm not a master at debating. Nevertheless, I feel like I would be able to put up a strong argument.
You believe in your position that it's okay to eat animals, right?
Yeah, of course.
You believe in that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take the vegan side then.
Ooh.
You're going to take the meat eater side.
Okay.
Right? So I propose to you that it's immoral to kill animals for food when you don't need to. What say you?
My question back to the individual would be to expound upon why it's immoral for individuals to eat animals for food.
Okay, let's start off. Is it moral to kill an animal?
Well, they're gonna die, right? You can't stop that. So here's the thing, right?
Humans are going to die.
Yeah.
So it's moral to kill a human?
No.
So why is it moral? Why is it moral to kill? Are you saying that animals don't have worth like humans do?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
And why are you saying that?
Well, humans have more worth because of their ability to control their environment.
So controlling your environment is where that's where your level is. If you can control your environment, then so what about animals that can control their environment? There are animals.
Well, they can, like the example with the monkeys, they can use sticks to change things in their environment, like fish and hunt and whatnot, but they can't manipulate their environment, right? They can't change the exterior experience that they have to go through in order to improve the overall well-being for everybody.
Well, you're gonna get if that's your standard, then I would say children can't do that.
But they, even after years of development and care, they get to a point where they can because of the sentient ability. And that's really what it comes down to. It's not anything else aside from sentience. Animals aren't sentient, so they have less of a worth.
So it comes down to sentience.
Yes.
So if somebody's in a coma and we know they'll come out in about 2 months, at the time that they're in the coma, they're not sentient. So should it be legal to be able to attack or hurt that person because they don't have sentience?
Well, the sentience isn't a ability, right, or a lack thereof to perceive things in your current state, right? If you're in a coma, you're unconscious. That's different than being sentient.
So what does sentience mean?
You're able to think for yourself and basically, as I was stating before, control your environment, manipulate it.
Sentience, here's what it says on Google. Being aware of one's surroundings. Someone in a coma would not qualify there. Being able to feel a range of emotions such as pleasure, pain, joy, and fear. Somebody in a coma couldn't feel those. And being able to assess risks and benefits and remember consequences. So that checks every box of somebody in a coma couldn't do any of that. Therefore, by your standard, they are essentially animals.
Well, here's the thing, right? And it's a very deep question that we don't have the answer to, but where does sentience derive from? We don't know. Therefore, because animals have not been able to exhibit such behavior in, you could argue, millions of years of the existence of life on planet Earth, then they have lucked out of the evolution lottery, so to say. They haven't gotten to the point where they can build cities, create resources, mass farming, do things for the benefit of the entirety of society.
You're broadening what sentience means definitionally. So what the meat eater would say is, typically in these debates, they would say it's not human. They're not if you're religious, you're immediately going to say God gave us domain over all of the animals.
And that's why I'm trying not to go to that argument.
Straight to God. So we all know that you can't win that argument because if God said that, then that's what God said.
Yeah.
But usually they go to sentience and they go, well, the vegan will go sentience. And then you're like, well, what is sentience? And then it devolves over a debate over sentience, right?
Yeah.
And that's what typically happens. And for me, there's no good reason, right? So if I could live right now, and I can, and we can all live in a world where you don't have to kill, you can eat. There's plenty of, grains, rice, fruits, vegetables. There's plenty of, vitamins that you don't need to kill. Nobody in this planet that lives in a second or first world country technically needs to kill an animal. So that's really the argument, is if you don't need to kill the animal, then why would you kill the animal? For instance, do you think it's okay to kill dogs and eat them?
Well, while I don't agree with the consumption of dog meat, people have gone into such desperate measures as to where that is their only option. And if survival is...
Well, you're going to the extreme.
Right.
Just as a general rule, instead of desperate measures, just as a general rule, like a hot dog or a steak, should people be able to eat dogs?
I don't believe so, because there is not a... How do I put this? There's not a safe market for such meat consumption, right? Like the FDA
Let's
doesn't
say there was
recommend
a safe market. If there was a safe market.
Well, then again, that's up to the individual.
What about your moral compass? Is your moral compass okay with eating puppies?
Well, if I needed it to survive, I would, Mosh.
All right, so I couldn't really, it's a hard debate to win against a vegan until you say this. You end up saying, you'll tell the vegan, well, what? They're usually like, your life shouldn't be any better than that pig's life being gassed. Why are you better than the cow that's about to go to the slaughterhouse? It has feelings. It knows where it's at. It knows its surroundings. It is sentient, essentially. So that would be the debate. Now, this is what I'm going to do next time I get with a vegan. I'm going to say, all right, I could prove that you don't feel that way.
All right.
Here it is. You're on a desert island, right? Mm-hmm. There's 8 people on this desert island. And then there's 2 cows. Now you have to one of them, so let's just say there's 10 people, 2 of them are cows, there's 10 entities, 2 are cows, 8 are humans. The group is asked, okay, one of you guys must kill somebody in this group. Is the vegan going to pick one of the humans, or is he going to pick the cow?
If those are the only 2 options, I would believe the cow would be the first to go. However, in the reality of situations, when things get so desperate and there's no other food, humans resort to cannibalism. It's just a fact.
I get it, but stay with me here.
I'm staying with you.
Stay with me. We're going off. What I'm saying is, the point is, if there's 3 people and 2 people say, and someone says, all right, you've got to kill one of you 3, just hypothetical, no extra stuff.
Yeah.
The vegan, you're not going to tell me you're going to flip a coin. You're going to say the cow is going to go first.
Right.
And no vegan, I bet, will tell me.
I don't know, because there's Naked and Afraid, that show, and there's been vegans on there, and they eat plants and they do things like that instead of going to catch an animal.
But it's not about eating. It's about what's worth more. There's 3 humans. Are the 2 humans intrinsically more valuable than the cow? I bet you if there was 2 vegans and a cow on there, and one of them had to go and they had to vote on it, those 2 vegans would pick the cow. Now, why would the 2 vegans pick the cow unless they thought the cow was worth less than the human life?
Well, just logistically, without emotions or anything, if there's a small number of people and a small number of animals, if the people disappear, the animals will only be able to survive for a limited time. Where if the reverse happens, humans will find a way to sustain themselves.
These are non sequiturs. I'm talking about. I get you guys.
Right.
But what I'm talking about
You're
is
talking about an island, a deserted island.
just a hypothetical. There's 3 people, like, because they want to say, well, you wouldn't kill a dog, you wouldn't kill this, and they try to equate the intrinsic value of the animal with a human. Like they'll say, how would you like to be gassed, or wouldn't you like to be slaughtered and brought at a slaughterhouse? Well, I say, are you saying that we're equal essentially in sentience? And then they'll say, yes. I bet you if I get them pinned in a corner and say, all right, one of you guys got to go, one's a cow and 2 are humans, they're going to say the cow.
Yeah,
And that right there will destroy your argument of saying they're equal. You see what I'm saying?
of course.
I'm gonna pin somebody down on that.
Yeah, they can't get out of it if it's life or death.
There's a dude named Joey Carbstrong on the internet, and I'd be trolling his page. He's a vegan, and I'm like, please let me debate you, because he smashes everybody he debates, and I'm like, bro, I can take this guy on.
I think you'd wreck them.
He's pretty good. Joey Carbstrong is a pretty good debater, but I think I'd smoke his boots.
Now, is the last part of his name Carbstrong like something he came up with? Or
Probably.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
I don't know.
I don't know for sure, but probably.
That's wild, bro.
So that's what I think. That's what I think I can win in a vegan debate. If there's any vegans, hit up the Mosh Jelton Show. Hit me up personally. Come to my inbox on Facebook. Say, you think you could beat me in a debate? We'll do it live. We'll call up. We'll do it on the pod. However y'all want to do it. We'll do it on FM radio. Whichever you guys want to do. By the way, check out the Mosh Jelton Show on Tuesday nights. We're the number 1 morning show at nighttime. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So check it out. All right. Now that we've gotten something through, before we get to a little bit of politics. Ooh. Now you're not going to hear on this channel, one of us is going to be like, oh, this party is better than this party, or we love these guys, but we will do some analysis, right? So we'll do analysis. The election's been over for what? It was Tuesday. We've got almost half a week under our belt. Yeah. So now what I would just want to talk about is not who's a better person, who's the better candidate. I want to talk about what happened. What do you guys think happened? So let me go over the election results just briefly. It was Donald Trump, obviously, versus Kamala Harris. Donald Trump got 312 of the Electoral College votes, while Harris only got 226. Now, the Senate was voted on as well. People voted for senators. The Republicans gained 4 seats. The Democrats lost 4 seats, so the Republicans took the Senate as well. In the House, the Republicans gained 2 seats, and the Dems lost 2 seats. And it looks like the Republican is going to have a majority in the House as well. There were multiple governor's races, and there are 27 Republican governors, and then there are 23 Democratic governors. What a race. This is definitely was the wildest presidential race in my lifetime. Yeah. It was, obviously there's a lot of people that dislike Trump. There's a lot of people that dislike Kamala. Joe was running in the beginning, and Joe looked decent. And then all of a sudden, Joe had that debate with Trump where people were like, whoa, this doesn't look cool. And they threw in Kamala with like 100 and something days to campaign. And there was an assassination attempt, 2 assassination attempts. There were faux pas. There were messes up. It was a wild endorsements over here, endorsements over there. But it's over. It's finally over. How do you feel now that all the election stuff is over? 2
words, Mosh. Thank God. It has been crazy for everybody. I tell you what, just people going at other people's throats, the ads everywhere. Dude, I can't tell you how many times I've seen political ads just trying to watch some entertainment on YouTube. It's been ridiculous. Yeah, and everybody's been going crazy. The amount of text messages I stopped receiving after the election is astounding, because you know me, I'm debating with everybody. I love to debate. And it seems like everybody took a deep breath after it was over.
I haven't seen massive protests in the street. It seems like people are relaxing.
Yeah.
What I thought was interesting was when it was Joe Biden versus Trump. Trump was up over 60% in the betting markets, right? And this was in July or whatever. And Joe Biden was down below 10%. Then Kamala comes in and she surpasses the betting odds in August. And then it's a dead balls close heat until about middle of October, where Donald Trump's numbers flew up and Harris's numbers flew down. We'll get to the exit polls and I'll tell you some demographics on who voted on what. But before I do, here's what I think went wrong and what went right for each campaign. Again, I'm not here to endorse anybody, but it seemed, and Bernie Sanders put out a post too, and I kind of agree with Bernie Sanders. The messaging during this time from the Democrats wasn't resonating with everyday voters. It seems to me that bringing the celebrities on wasn't working well, and the Republicans brought Hulk Hogan and some other guy. They did it too, but it seemed like they were bringing out the celebrities was just like come on, we're not doing good economically, and you're having fun dancing. And on the flip side, though, I don't think the Harris campaign was that bad. I think Trump had some killer moves in his campaign. Obviously, if you take incoming fire, that's going to boost you up in the polls. He also did the McDonald's thing was genius.
Yeah, that was huge.
That was huge to go into McDonald's and do that. And then apparently Joe Biden said something about his supporters are garbage, but people took it out of context, meaning Biden said that they took it a little bit out of context. Biden did say that, though. And then Donald Trump shows up to a rally in a damn garbage truck, and it was just a spectacle. I think the messaging from Donald Trump this time was a lot better. It was a lot less nastiness. He was just economy. And I think the Harris campaign, they just didn't stay on message. It didn't resonate, and it shows in the polls. I mean, what do you think happened to Harris's campaign? Why do you think they lost and the Trump campaign won?
Well, I would have to say the biggest proponent of that, from what I've heard, is intrinsically it comes down to their strategies as to what they're pushing for. Whereas the Harris campaign, from what I was hearing, and again, not saying one side's doing better, one side's doing worse, just two different strategies, right? The Harris campaign was focusing more so on personal interactions, going door to doors and whatnot, more rallies and protests and all that jazz. While the Trump campaign, while they did all that stuff, they put more of their efforts, more focus into online social media outreach. Now, why is that? And what I was hearing is his son, Barron Trump, who is actually a couple years younger than me and is like half a foot taller than me, surprisingly enough. He's like 6'4" or something
6'7".
like that. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
6'7".
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Trump's 6'3".
Are you? You're not joking
Yeah,
with
he's
me.
6'7".
Dead serious.
He's a tall fella.
Yes.
Tall fella.
He pushed for his father to do the social media outreach, and that actually hit home with a lot of younger voters, which is where the Harris campaign, from what I was seeing, really missed out. If they pushed more on social media instead of going to these podcasts and these small events and then spending millions of dollars on multiple musician concerts, I'm not saying that didn't happen with the Trump campaign, but that's more so what the Harris campaign focused on. And you saw what the Trump won by 15 million more popular votes.
Yeah, the Trump won. It was about 75 to I think 71. So no, Trump only won by about 4 million.
Oh, okay.
Popular votes.
Still,
yeah, I agree with you. Here's the thing, though. Trump, he'll risk saying some dumb ass shit, bro. He don't give a damn. So the thing was, Harris seemed like she didn't want to take any risks. She wouldn't, if Harris would have sat down and just talked from the hip without, she seemed so rehearsed every time she spoke that if she would have just sat down and shot from the hip, maybe got it wrong and then walked it back. But, you know, it didn't sound like Chat GPT.
Right.
I think she would have done a lot better.
Yeah.
And Trump, you know what I'm saying? If every 10 times he speaks, 9 of them are going to have incendiary stuff. When that Kill Tony Hinchcliffe made that joke at his rally about the Puerto Ricans, I
Yeah.
thought that was going to tank his Latino vote, and it didn't. So you knew it was baked in the cake. She should have done a lot more of those talk shows, I think. And then a lot of the campaign was just, it was like, we hate Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's like, we know. And then like the people were like, yo, we know about him. We know all about him. We know what he says. We know what he does. We know he's getting indicted. We know all this stuff. What's going on? Donald Trump is bad. I think that strategy was a bad strategy. And I think Trump's strategy was, just stick on the economy. It didn't seem like he was going after people too much like he was the first 2 campaigns. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you. Whereas with Trump, I can think of a couple things he was always talking about, right? That his policies, as far as that goes, where as soon as I get in office, this is going to happen. With Harris, what?
Right.
Oh, we're going to make sure Trump doesn't win. Like, that's not a policy for when you get into office as president. What are you going to do for us, for your voters,
Yeah.
for your constituents, for the country? And I don't remember one policy from her campaign pushing for anything other than anything that was opposing to Trump. Trump said this, they're going the opposite way.
Yeah, and I also think the far right, the right-leaning people, the far right, they haven't, the moderate right, the moderate conservatives haven't let the far right really take control and come in and devastate the party. It seems like the far left kind of did. Regardless, Trump's campaign beat Harris's campaign. And here's some of the exit polling. Let's see who voted for who. 55% of men voted, of total men in the country, 55% voted Harris, 42 or voted Trump rather. 55% of men voted Trump, 42% of men voted Harris, and then 45% of men voted Harris, and 53% of women voted. This is 45% of women voted Harris, 45% of men voted Harris, and 53% of women voted Harris. Now let's go with the race. 50. Dude, the way they got this set up, bro, you got to be like a economic scientist to read this stuff. All right. White, whatever that means, I don't know what white even means, but they're saying 51% of white people voted for Trump and 41% of white people voted for Harris. 64% of non-white people voted for Harris, whilst 33% of non-white people voted for Trump.
Now, when they say that, does that mean like the Latino community, African American, or just all of those communities that aren't white people?
Well, if we go by race, what you'll find is 60% of white men voted for Trump, 37% of white men voted for Harris.
Okay.
And then 53 for women on Trump and 45 for women on Harris for white women. Now, when it comes to black men, 77% of all black men in the country voted for Harris.
Whoa.
And only 21% voted for Trump, which is up from before. So, and then you got black women, that 91% of all American black women voted for Harris, and only 7% of black women voted for Trump. Here's the weird number that not a lot of people saw coming. Latino men. Trump won more Latino men than Harris.
By how much?
55% of Latino men voted for Trump, while 43% voted for Harris.
Wow.
And Latino women, it was 60% voted for Kamala, and 38% of Latino women voted for Trump. So you would think after the Puerto Rican joke, after all the stuff that they say about him, that wouldn't be the case. But it sure was the case. And then finally, we'll get to age. So
I just have a quick question.
absolutely, jump on in.
Okay, so when you go to the polls and you give them your voter's card and everything, but then how do they know? They don't know who you voted for. Like, so I bring my sheet in there and I fill it all out. How do they know that I voted for? You know what I mean? Like, are they all numbered? Do they have? Like, how do they know?
That's a good question.
Because they don't. Yeah, I'm not showing them.
Because your name is not on the ballot.
Yeah, the name's not on the ballot.
Which is insane that your names aren't on the ballot.
Right, your name's not on the ballot. Nothing of you is on the ballot.
That
So
thing
how do
could
they
get
know?
ripped up and then it's not. Anyways, I don't know. It says exit polling, so what I assume is this. It must be a poll. I don't know exactly how they got the results. The way that it's set up is it looks like they know the numbers. It's not like
Right.
a guess.
That's what. Yeah, because I'm like, how do they know?
So somehow they know the numbers. But interesting enough, with age, the older you get, it seems, the more you voted for Trump. And so between ages 18 to 24, 54% voted Kamala, 42% voted Trump. 25 to 29, 45% voted Trump. 30 to 39, 46% voted Trump. 40 to 49, 50% voted Trump. 50 to 64, you got 56%. And then it's a tie for 66 and over. These numbers actually, this is very interesting stuff for me. So on political matters, liberals, people that consider themselves liberals voted for Harris. People that considered themselves moderate voted for Harris. And overwhelmingly conservative obviously voted for Trump. So my takeaway in this is, and it's no disrespect again to nobody's politics or whatever, but to me it seemed like Harris she seemed kind of fake, bro. She never said anything I couldn't tell whether she meant anything she said. There was nothing extemporaneous. It was almost as if it wasn't ingrained in her brain, then she was scared to talk about anything. Whilst you got Trump going over there just being real. Mm-hmm. And I think realness won the day.
Yeah, and not only was he real, but as compared to his 2016 election, he wasn't as... Now, he was still inflammatory, but he wasn't as inflammatory. If you remember him in 2016, he would left and right call out people and say the wildest things that you would never hear from a president. But it seems like he did tone that down, and I feel like that helped him in his campaign.
Oh, he was way more chill.
Yeah.
He was way less not going for people, which is good because he says some dumbass stuff sometimes. And he's not a big I'm going to apologize. So
No, he's not.
But hey,
Gotta respect it though.
the people would rather, it seems the voters would rather hear somebody say dumbass stuff all the time, but at least seem like that's what they believe. I was watching a damn Senate debate, and in this debate, I'm not even going to say who it was, but it was a debate in a state, I believe it was Kentucky.
All right.
Might not have been Kentucky. It was Missouri.
Ooh.
It was Missouri. And these two people were debating, and one of them was like, it looked kind of even. And then the one guy's like, well, why don't you tell the crowd who you're voting for? You won't even tell them who you're voting for. And the dude goes, look, man, I'm not going to make this about a national-wide election. And then the other guy's like, listen, bro, you might not agree with some of the stuff I say, but at least I'm going to tell you where I stand. This guy won't even tell you who he's voting for this time.
Yeah.
And that was it, bro. I was like, bro, you got smoked and cloaked.
Yeah.
So toward the end of this, Jess, you were a voter this year. So what would you say, and not like policy or anything, but just strategy, what do you think the Democrats could do better next time around to maybe take back the White House? What type of messaging, what type of policy, like what type of...
Yeah, not so harsh on the other side, like how they were just, hating on Trump every, the DNC or whatever the whole thing was, just Trump, hate Trump, every other word, So it's like, get off of that, focus more on the people and not so much that hate towards the other person. And they were very like wishy-washy, they switched, and it was just like a mess over there. It seemed they didn't have it together at all.
Yeah. First obviously Biden, and then he left, and then Kamala.
Yeah, it was like a scramble, and it was just they didn't have their stuff in order.
Makes sense. What do you think? What do you think could have been different? What should the Dems do in 2028 to try to re-grab this thing?
Almost everything. I'm not going to hide it. I'm not going to cover it up. They did good things. Don't get me wrong, as far as how they were campaigning and whatnot. But again, their Achilles heel is Trump, dude. It's every time, just as Skress was saying, they brought up a policy or they went to a debate or they have a campaign or an ad. It's all about anti-Trump, not pro-American, not what are we going to do for the people? What are we going to do as far as helping America?
China.
Yes.
Yeah, like, something with China. Who knows? Yeah, I'm not talking about that. But the thing is next time what they should do is do what they did before. That kept them winning presidential election after presidential election for years on end. And that is focus on what the people want. That is what the Democrats have always been strongest in. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't seem like that's where they're leaning into. They're leaning away from their strengths.
It seems like a lot of times they were trying to shame the people and not convince them. They were trying to shame them into voting for them. Like Brock came out and a couple of people. It's like, how dare you how dare you consider not voting for us, man? Like, and then no follow up.
Right.
It's like, what do you mean, bro? So they took the vote for granted. And then you got to remember, it's the economy, stupid. Mm-hmm. People feel like the economy was better 4 years ago, so they feel like their money is not worth as much. And a lot of people just simply want to, okay, it was better here. It's got worse. Mm-hmm. They don't even look at it that far.
Right.
And the biggest thing out of everything that was, it was a head turner. I was confused at it myself. And I don't agree with it, man. It was this. After Harris conceded to Trump, right? What did she say? Oh, it's going to be all right. We'll get it around next time. Now, is that what you're going to say if you are campaigning against the other person, saying that they're Hitler, that they're a fascist, that they're going to destroy America? Is that really what you're going to say if you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you just lost? No, you're not going to say, oh, all right, guys, well, let's get it next year.
Yeah, and they...
So they don't really think that he is as evil as they've been pushing for.
They must not, because if Hitler did get elected, the people would be on the streets. But then the other side was calling them communists too. So, I mean, and obviously you can think of, just like you can think of Trump as like a fascist, you can also think of them as like the communist, Soviet, whatever. But I agree with both of you guys. Definitely should have been. The Democrats need to find a more real candidate. That would be what I would say. Democrats, get somebody that not only people can relate to, not only someone that kind of resembles the rest of America, get somebody that can actually hold their own with no script and has their own feelings, and you might make the snag, but I'm not sure. We will definitely see.
Well, I'll tell you this. I'll take fascism over communism any day.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would prefer neither, but if it was either or, I'd pick the fascists, not the communists.
It's funny because the end result of both fascism and communism looks the same.
Hey, at least my property won't be taken away and saying it's public property, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but you'll be obliged by the law to do exactly with your public property as with your private property as you were told. So essentially, if you go all the way to the end of fascism and all the way to the end of communism, they converge somehow as if it was a globular thing instead of a flat Earth, which it wasn't.
I'm glad to be an American, where at least I know I'm free.
Buck's ready to go.
Yeah.
All right. We don't want to hit you with politics. I do want to get into the other thing that's coming Friday. You going to watch?
Oh.
Dude, you know I'm going to be watching.
Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul is finally coming up Friday. I called this. I said this fight would never happen. Then the fight got postponed. And then now it's happening. It's supposedly happening Friday. And I don't know if you guys remember when Jake Paul told his father that he was fighting Mike Tyson. Here's what Jake Paul's father said. There's a couple curse words in it, but Jake Paul tells his dad who he's going to fight, and this is his response. He said, who's your favorite boxer? Here, let me start it over. So Jake's going to ask his dad, who's your favorite boxer?
Who was your favorite boxer?
Mike Tyson.
Mike, right?
Fuck yeah. Fuck yes.
Because I'm going to be fighting him
No way.
in July
Dude,
on Netflix.
are you fucking kidding me, Dad?
Yeah.
He's gonna be the hardest hitting motherfucker you ever fought.
I know.
Dude, holy fuck, I'm gonna be freaking out.
Yeah.
Man, his dad's got a mouth on him.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
I guess he's
subject.
fighting Mike Tyson, so you kind of
Yeah.
the F-bombs start dropping. Stephen A. Smith was talking to Mike Tyson recently, and here's what they had to say about this.
You're twice his age, and you haven't been in the ring in an official sanctioned bout since 2005. How are you feeling pressure-wise about needing to beat him?
Well, I feel in great condition. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday I box 8 rounds, and I don't know. I'm ready. I don't look at it as I'm some old guy that's decrepit going to fight this young guy. I'm fighting a guy with 10 fights. You know, he's sensational and he's hot, but I'm fighting a guy with 10 fights, and I just think I can handle this situation.
You gonna knock him out?
I think I'm going to hurt him, yes.
So it's Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. Mike Tyson is looking jacked. He's looking big. Mike Tyson is looking tough. He's looking fast. But he's 58 years old. Jake Paul, 27. Now, if you guys have watched any of Jake Paul's other fights, right? Do you guys know Tyron Woodley? He knocked out Tyron Woodley. Tyson Fury, Tommy Fury, who's Tyson Fury's brother.
Okay.
He went to a split decision with him, and he was definitely a professional boxer. Ben Askren, that was an easy fight for Jake Paul. Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz was not an easy fight, but he got Nate Diaz. Jake Paul is legitimately can whoop somebody's ass. And have you seen Jake Paul in the past couple weeks online?
Yeah, he's looking pretty incredible.
He looks bigger than Mike Tyson in his prime, bro.
I don't know. If you put them side by side, that might be a fair point. I'd have to check him out.
Jake looks stacked, bro. And I'll tell you like this. If Mike Tyson is as old as his birth certificate says, if he's 58 years old and Jake throws one of those overhand rights, that's it, dude. I think Jake will knock him out within the first 2 rounds.
Well, I believe if that situation occurred, probably. Although we're not talking about any 58-year-old man, we're talking about Mike Tyson. You think he's gonna let something like that get across his defense?
I don't think he's gonna have I don't think it's gonna be up to him. I think Jake's right hand is gonna dictate what happens there. I don't know how a 58-year-old jaw and a 58-year-old brain that's inside of that fluid, inside of this, the cerebral fluid. Once Jake cracks Mike with one of those hard ones and Mike's 58-year-old brain bounces off the side and the concussion comes in, I think you're going to see a knockout. And it might go like this. It might be round 2, Mike was getting his ass kicked in the first round. And then round 2, Jake comes in and he cracks Mike a couple times and Mike just goes down and he might get up. I don't doubt that Mike might not get up, but I don't see Jake Paul. And then I could see three drops and he's out. But you think Mike Tyson, 58 years old, is going to come through? Let me ask you this then: if Mike Tyson's going to win against Jake Paul, how does it happen?
It's going to be technique and skill.
No. 8 2-minute rounds. How does it happen? Give me about the round and give me what fashion. How does Mike win? What does he do? Does he win by knockout? Does it go to a decision? How does it look to you?
I feel as if it would inevitably lean towards Mike Tyson. I don't know if it would be a knockout because of the situation that the fight is taking place under. Although,
you think Mike's going to take it to a decision and win?
I don't think that it's going to be up to him, right? Because that's the thing. It's about age, right? And you got a faster, younger, more maneuverable, more resilient, easy to recover, 20-something-year-old, very buff dude.
Better gas tank.
Right. But the thing is even though Mike Tyson might not have the speed, he might not have the same recovery as he did in his prime, he's going to outmaneuver him. He's going to be a technical masterpiece. So I think at latest by round 4, he's going to wear out Logan Paul or Jake Paul.
Dude.
One of the Pauls. I don't know. Both are going to be worn out.
I want you to understand what this man just said. He just said the 58-year-old dude that hasn't fought in a couple years is going to have a better gas tank than Jake Paul, and Mike Tyson is going to wear out and make Jake Paul tired? You think
Experience.
Mike is going to make Jake Paul tired? You
Yes.
think Jake Paul is going to gas before Mike Tyson?
Yeah.
You're smoking crack,
Dude,
bro.
I know it's wild to think about it, but think of it this way. You got an expert, a literal professional in there.
Sure.
Right? Every single day when he was in his prime, for years on end, what did he do? Nothing but train. He knows this sport inside and out better than anybody on this world.
Oh, I agree with you on that.
So you're telling me that this gentleman, this expert, this SME, subject matter expert, will not beat this novice who just got into... Okay, he's not novice. He's not even a professional, though.
He is a professional. He's got. Wait, Jake Paul's not a professional fighter?
No, because he doesn't go into and have a contract with any other fighters professionally that's in the ring under sanctioned match.
Bro,
with
have
the
you
UFC.
seen the average boxer's first 10 fights? Their first 10 fights are tomato cans, typically.
He's
Jake
fighting
Paul's
over-
first 10 fights are world champion. It might be MMA, but it's still, he's looking for the biggest fights. I don't know, man.
But it's going against names, not the reputation, right? If you're in UFC and you're going against somebody who's in their prime that you're both fighting against each other for the same belt, it's a little different.
But you
in my
can't
mind.
start off in boxing fighting Canelo.
No, you can't. You got to work your way up. So what does this guy do? He gets people who basically are either falling out of the sport or are retired because they're too old, and he's fighting them because they're very famous.
And you think Mike Tyson's going to win?
Yes.
I bet you said that about every person he fought. You just destroyed your own argument.
No, I haven't, because I have seen fights against other professionals with Jake, right? But the thing is the only reason I feel like he beat them is because they are not as professional as Mike Tyson. We're talking about Mike Tyson, bro. This ain't no Joe Schmo on the street.
They
this
were all
is Iron Mike Tyson, dude.
20 years younger at least than Mike Tyson.
Well, that's again, it all comes into a culmination. And at the end of the day, what's the biggest factor in anything? Experience.
I disagree. I think this one's going to come down. This one is not. I mean, a lot of times it's experience. I agree with you, but not this one. I think this is going to come down to what you were talking about, which is the gas tank. I don't think Jake Paul is going to go out there and get in a firefight with Mike Tyson immediately. I think Jake Paul is going to gas out Mike Tyson because I think Tyson's going to run in there like a bull in a china shop and start throwing haymakers. A couple of those hit, Jake might be going for a ride to the house. But
But
he's got the puncher's chance, but I don't.
But that's what I mean. We're talking about gassing him out and experience. If it was just these two people who have the same experience in fighting, whoever gets gassed out first loses. But Mike Tyson is an expert. He's been doing this for longer than his opponent has been alive. So you're telling me he's not going to know how to manage his fatigue, go through the rounds at a consistent pace and not go hog wild and burn himself out too early on. Things
I'm
of
just
that nature.
saying that
You know
he
what I mean?
doesn't have what he used to have, and so I think he might get beat there. But we'll figure it out. We're gonna see. And I'm calling right now. I'm gonna call a second round knockout from Jake Paul.
I'm on Team Tyson, man.
What are you calling?
Like I said, probably fourth round at the latest. It's probably going to happen sooner than that, but I would say fourth round at the latest. And if not by knockout, he's going to beat him by fatiguing him. Tyson's going to beat, Logan or whatever.
Friday night is going to be it's going to be a doozy, man. So I'll be watching. All right, check it out. Now, there is another big fight. If anybody watches the old UFC, anybody out there. Now, John Jones is the heavyweight champion. Everybody knows John Jones is the heavyweight champion, and he beat Cyril Gane, and now it's John Jones versus Stipe Miocic, however you want to pronounce it. Stipe hasn't gotten a fight in almost 4 years. John is looking at almost 2 years, tears his pec, whatever. They're both the same. They're both 6'4". They're both fast. They both know how to wrestle. I think Stipe hits a little harder. I think John is a better wrestler. I think so. Again, just like the Jake Paul, Mike Tyson, you got to figure out, how does one win? How does John Jones beat Stipe? Well, does John Jones wrestle Stipe and get on top of him and pound him out? I don't know if he can do that to Stipe. So maybe. Is Stipe going to take John Jones down and wrestle him? No. That's not going to happen. Maybe John can take down Stipe, but even Daniel Cormier was having problems taking down Stipe. So I think it's going to end up standing. Now, who's got the knockout power? That goes into Stipe. So if Stipe can get a couple punches in there, I think Stipe could knock him out. The money is on John Jones to win. John Jones would have to win a decision, in my opinion. I don't think John Jones is going to sleep him, and I don't think he's going to submit Stipe. And I think Stipe can win by knockout or decision. But if it's either a decision, I'm going to give it to Jones. If it's a knockout, I'm going to give it to Stipe. But I think it's a slow fight. I think they go in there cautious. And I think John Jones outpoints Stipe. And I think that's the way that's going to go. Because they're both going to be cautious. They both haven't fought in a while. They're not going to run out there and get into the fire. It's a 5-round fight. And John knows how to win the points. And then both of them are going to retire probably right after this fight. So I don't even care much about the fight. Everybody else does. Tom Aspinall will be in the crowd. He's the interim heavyweight champion, but the heavyweight champion is fighting someone who doesn't have any belt, and then they might retire, but you got another. It's so dumb. Tom should be in there, but Tom Aspinall, who is the interim heavyweight champion, is going to be there ready to fight in case somebody pulls out. So I think Stipe and John, that's going to be a lot closer than Jake Paul, Mike Tyson. I'm going John Jones with the old decision Jones, and I'm also going to guarantee a couple eye pokes from John Jones, because John Jones will poke him in the eye. Do you agree?
I think so. If you can get away with it, why not?
It's going to be an eye poke festival. So you guys get ready for the pokes and get ready for all this stuff. And don't forget, Monday night from 8 to 10 p.m., you can check us out on themoshdjeltonshow.com as well as radiostpete.com. And Tuesday night, the #1 FM radio show in Tampa Bay of 2023. #2 this year, next to Bubba the Love Sponge. It's the Mosh Jelton Show. And that pops off Tuesday nights from 11 p.m. to midnight. Check us out, and we'll be back to rock. Watch out for the macaques. And Jake Paul is going to knock out Mike Tyson. You heard it here first, guaranteed.
Do you know what time it is?
You're tuned